identify groups suspected of targeting conservatives or causes that conservatives support. That could include, as well as people who have retaliated against law enforcement carrying out Trump's deportation campaign. Meanwhile, the president announced last night that he will label Antifa as a major terrorist organization, although current law only allows this designation for foreign groups.
We begin. Well, one of the specific problems here is that Antifa isn't really a group.
Right.
I mean, it's the nature of an anarchic or a foreign group. It's a bunch of people who organize around a set of ideas that they learn from each other and learn from the internet. The whole issue today is that obviously you don't need an organizational structure to do anything. People become radicalized by reading the web, and then they become. We've seen that for years on the Islamist front. I'm not comparing ISIS and Al-Qaeda to whatever might be happening on the left. On the larger question of Open Society Foundation, Ford Foundation, I mean, this is just silly. These are organizations that argue liberal arguments in a legal, law-abiding way, and they're part of the marketplace of ideas. And the idea that you would try to link, whether you agree with it or not, whether you would link Ford Foundation's position on X, Y, or Z, on trans rights, for instance, to violence, it's absurd and it's dangerous. And you know, the issue that conservative groups and the Trump administration need to consider is that, you know, if you want to introduce this way of dealing with your enemies, adversaries in American politics, you're going to reap the whirlwind sooner or later, right? I mean, because no political ideology stays on top forever in the American tradition. And so I find it extraordinary. I find it to be an extraordinary power move that is not well thought out and obviously not grounded in American law or, even more important, American tradition.
This was being treated as a single murder. It's not a single murder. This is not a single murder of a great man. There's a vast conspiracy in back of this. Antifa needs to be designated as a domestic terrorist organization. And hey, if you want to make it international terrorist, there's plenty of evidence of that. In fact, it came out of Europe.
What do you think about this reporting that the president or the administration plan to go after, in some way, left-leaning groups before the end of the month without proving that they've actually done anything wrong?
It's more authoritarian nonsense from this administration, which we've seen. And one thing in particular that bothers me about it is he's like, we're going to go after Antifa. That's like saying you're going after Black Lives Matter. Like, it's a general term, right? Antifa is not necessarily a set group. It is being an anti-fascist. So you can apply that to almost anybody. So if you're just saying we're going to go after anybody who doesn't like fascism, well, are you going after a group? Are you going after a group of middle-aged women in the suburbs who are like, hey, we don't like the fact that you're doing a midterm redistricting? There's lots of things that can fall under that umbrella, but it just goes to show that this administration is about revenge. Because if you can't define the bad guy, you can go after anybody.
ABC is pulling Jimmy Kimmel Live off the air indefinitely following Kimmel's comments about Charlie Kirk. Kimmel raised the possibility that the suspect in the killing might have been a pro-Trump Republican, according to authorities. That wasn't true. That comment immediately drew the attention of FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr, who threatened to, quote, take action against Disney's ABC. We should note the FCC licenses stations owned by or are affiliated with ABC. It does not license the network itself. Earlier tonight, the president celebrated the decision, saying in part, quote, great news for America. The ratings challenge Jimmy Kimmel show is canceled. Congratulations to ABC for finally having the courage to do what had to be done.
Becoming increasingly clear, isn't it, Mike, that people around President Trump who are now in the White House spent the 4 years that President Trump was out of power thinking, how can we dismantle liberal with a small L institutions that conservatives have had gripes about, sometimes fairly, sometimes not fairly, for a very long time. And we're seeing them do that systematically. And any time there is an opportunity and they feel that public opinion will let them push that much further, it seems they're going to go as far as they can.
What do you see potentially down the line as next, if there is a next?
I mean, I think that you're going to, I think that every time you see one of these settlements, in whatever form it takes, the administration is saying, wow, this is really working. Let's look for more targets.
You designate them a terrorist organization, then all kind of good things happen. You start subpoenaing telephone records, text messages. You go to the telephone companies like they went on us and took all our stuff. Fine, do it. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. See the interconnection. See who's financing them. See who's contacting them. See what politicians are working with them. See what media types are working with them. And then we ought to round up the media types that are working with them as accessories. This is doable. And if you want to avoid a civil war, it needs to be done today. Use the powers of the state. We happen to be in charge.
This is the primal scream of a dying regime. Pray for our enemies, because we're going medieval on these people. You're not got a free shot on all these networks lying about the people. The people have had a belly full of it. I know you don't like hearing that. I know you try to do everything in the world to stop that, but you're not going to stop it. It's going to happen.
And where do people like that go to share the big lie? MAGA media. I wish in my soul, I wish that any of these people had a conscience.
Ask yourself, what is my task and what is my purpose? If that answer is to save my country, this country will be saved.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
It's Thursday, 18 September in the year of our Lord 2025. We are momentarily going to go to Chequers, which is the country home of the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, for a press conference with the Prime Minister Starmer and President Trump. They announced earlier today, you saw Real America's Voice live, I don't know, I think it's a $400 billion deal on nuclear power plants that England's going to, they finally realized nobody's got power. Since they all bought into the climate hoax, and they're all sitting squealing, and the only reason it's a big deal, wait for it, artificial intelligence. Yep. Since the tech bros need power, power you shall have. And it ain't windmills, it's not solar farms. You're going to get good old nuclear power. Remember how that was verboten after what the China syndrome, the Jack Lemmon and Jane Fonda movie? Couldn't touch it. Couldn't touch it. Well, now you can touch it. Huge deal. Offered not a lot of specifics on this issue of free speech in the United Kingdom and what restrictions we're going to put on kind of deal. I'm sure that's going to get asked at the presser. Overnight, though, huge news. Jimmy Kimmel, the affiliates, Sinclair Broadcasting, a conservative conservative media company run by Dave Smith. I think he's still chairman, CEO. He and his parents founded it, or his parents founded it. He's one of the biggest affiliate, I think the biggest affiliate network in ABC. He said, hey, guess what? We're not putting on Jimmy Kimmel anymore. So Disney, you want to put it up, have it play in New York and L.A., go for it. Jimmy Kimmel's gone. Even bigger news. Now, the assassination of Charlie Kirk's not just being treated as a murder case by some cops out in Utah. It is going to be designated, we're going to have a Antifa and all of its subsets designated as a major terrorist network by the President of the United States. I think that executive order will be coming here forthwith. I know teams are already being formed. This is going to be the end of days for this crowd. You see how they're squealing right there? Well, Antifa's not really, it's totally disorganized. Yeah, okay. That's the top level of the Grundoons. You got the middle level of kind of the military and other intelligence apparatuses that train them. And then you got the base and the bottom and the most important, the operations, the media connections, the corporate connections, the foundation connections, the university connections, and wait for it, the money. And what foreign operators, what foreign countries are in back of this, the color revolution. This is going after the color revolution in the United States of America, and it's going to be full bore. This will break them. And of course, Karl Rove, he of the war crimes in Iraq, we got it? Okay, we're going to go. Let's go to Chequers right now. Press conference, President of the United States, Prime Minister of England will return immediately afterwards.
To welcome you to Chequers. This historic second state visit is a moment to celebrate the unique bond between our two countries. But today we've gone far beyond that. We've renewed the special relationship for a new era. The United Kingdom and the United States stand together today as first partners on defence, first partners in trade with the groundbreaking deal we struck in May, And now, with the new agreement that we've just signed this afternoon, we're confirming our status as the first partners in science and technology, ready to define this century together, just as we did the last. This tech partnership has the power to change lives. It's our chance to ensure that technologies like AI, quantum, and others amplify human potential, solve problems, cure diseases, make us richer and freer, strengthen the cause of democracy, not tyranny. This is the territory on which the future will be won. So this partnership today is a signal of our determination to win this race together and to ensure it brings real benefits in jobs, in growth, in lower bills, to put more hard-earned cash in people's pockets at the end of each month. That's what we're determined to deliver. And we're bringing businesses with us. We've just come from a fantastic meeting with business leaders where we set out this vision. They have responded with new deals and investment, breaking every record that we have. £250 billion flowing both ways across the Atlantic. That is a record. Expected to create 15,000 jobs here in the United Kingdom. High-skilled jobs in cutting-edge sectors where people can build careers for the long term, changing lives in communities up and down our country. And look, while we shape this bond for a new era, the fundamentals have not changed. Security remains the cornerstone of this special relationship. We have the deepest, most advanced defence relationship in the world. Our warriors train together and they fight together. Our industries build together, everything from fast jets to the new AUKUS-class submarines. So now, as we drive up defence spending, we're going to sweep away the barriers to working together on new defence technologies so we can stay ahead of our adversaries. We're united in defence and security. Yes, absolutely. But we're also united in the pursuit of peace. We are working together to end the humanitarian catastrophe in the Middle East, get the aid in, free the hostages, and ultimately bring Israel and the region back towards a comprehensive plan which can deliver peace and security for Israelis and Palestinians alike. We're also working together to end the killing in Ukraine. In recent days, Putin has shown his true face, mounting the biggest attacks since the invasion began, with yet more bloodshed, yet more innocents killed, and unprecedented violations of NATO airspace. These are not the actions of someone who wants peace. So we've discussed today how we can build our defences further, support Ukraine, and decisively increase the pressure on Putin to get him to agree a peace deal that will last. And President Trump, you have led the way here, and we will continue to stand and work together for security and for peace. Mr. President, next year we'll celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States. We've come on a long journey together since 1776. But it's no exaggeration to say that the partnership our two nations have built has shaped the world from the beaches of Normandy to the founding of NATO, to the creation of technologies that have revolutionized our lives. Time and time again, it is British and American men and women side by side, changing the path of history and turning it towards our values, towards freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. In Britain, we take huge pride in that. And let's be clear, this relationship is not just about history, it's about the future. It's about the benefits it delivers now and for decades to come, to make our people safer and better off. We've shown today that we're delivering those benefits, improving people's lives. So we will go into that anniversary year more optimistic than ever and more confident than ever about our two great nations and what they can achieve side by side. Thank you. And it is now my pleasure to give the floor to Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you very much, very much. Prime Minister Starmer, Melania and I are tremendously thankful for the wonderful hospitality that you and Lady Starmer have extended today at Chequers. Quite the place, I must say, quite the place. And we're grateful beyond words for the spectacular honor of the state visit yesterday at Windsor Castle, hosted by His Majesty King Charles III and Her Majesty Queen Camilla. These are two fantastic people. We will never forget it. As I said last night, the bond between our countries is like no other anywhere in the world. The United States and the United Kingdom have done more good on this planet than any two nations in human history. That is thanks in large part to the traditions of British liberty, which grew up on these isles, these beautiful, magnificent isles, and were carried by our ancestors to the New World. We're forever joined, and we are forever friends, and we will always be friends. This enduring connection is why I was thrilled that the United Kingdom was the very first country with which we made a historic trade deal, and a very good trade deal. He's a tough negotiator. I think it was a better deal for you than us, but these are minor details.
It's a very good deal for both of us.
He's a great negotiator. We will extend our unparalleled security alliance into the realm of economic security for the first time, and I look forward to finalizing it very soon. We'll have it done very quickly. We have also just signed a historic technology prosperity deal, one of a kind, to ensure our countries lead the next great technological revolution side by side. In fact, we just left the business leaders, the biggest in the world. Some are in this room right now. And that was quite a meeting we had on business and trade and technology. This trip has galvanized $350 billion in deals across many sectors, and we're committed to ensuring that the UK has a secure and reliable supply of the best AI hardware and software on Earth. And we supply that, and we'll make sure we supply it in quantity to the UK. We also are joining forces on quantum computing and nuclear power, a natural partnership for close allies. The United States, as you probably have heard, is doing better than it has ever done in terms of business and investment. The stock market has hit a new high, as you know, and that's for many, many days out of our fairly short 8 months. And we seem to be hitting new highs, and I think we're going to do much better even as time goes by. Jobs are at a record, and most importantly, we have more than $17 trillion, $17 trillion, and this is during an 8-month period being invested in the country, which is not only a record, but if you compare $17 trillion to the last year of the Biden administration, they did $250 billion. They didn't do $1 trillion for the 4-year period. We did $17 trillion of investment coming in. A lot of it's because of tariffs, and a lot of it's for a lot of other reasons, but there's never been anything like it. It's an economic superstar. That's what's become. It was mismanaged and badly handled for a long period of time, but it's not badly handled anymore. So that's a record. And remember, that's up until 8 months. We have another few months to go, and that number is going to get significantly higher, especially if we win a certain case that we're waiting to hear. That will be something like the world has never seen. I want to congratulate the United Kingdom on making the vital commitment to spend 5% of GDP on defense at the NATO summit this year. We've worked together very closely in so many ways. I'm very honored to tell you that we've solved 7 wars wars that were unsolvable, wars that couldn't be negotiated or done. The U.S. has done 7 of them. The one that I thought would be easiest would be because of my relationship with President Putin, but he's let me down. He's really let me down. It was going to be Russia and Ukraine, but we'll see how that turns out. But that turned out to be, I thought it might be among the easiest of the group. But we had settled just about every conflict, and as you know, we're working very hard on Israel and Gaza. All that's happening over there. Complex, but it's going to get done. It'll all get done right. And likewise, Russia and Ukraine will get done. But you never know in war. You know, war is a different thing. Things happen that are very opposite of what you thought. You thought you were going to have an easy time or a hard time, and it turns out to be the reverse. As we saw in the unforgettable parade yesterday at Windsor Castle, what a place it is. The British Armed Forces carry on one of the finest military traditions in the world, one of the greatest marching bands, one of the most magnificent sights I've seen. I know that our service members look forward, and we do look so forward to working even more closely with yours as you push toward that 5% goal. And I think, Mr. Prime Minister, you're just about there. You're going to be there very quickly, along with a lot of other great countries. I want to thank NATO and our wonderful head of NATO, who's really worked very hard, Mark, for the job they've done. As you know, NATO was at 2% GDP, and they didn't pay it. Now they're at 5%, then they pay it. And we appreciate that. And we're sending a lot of weapons to NATO. NATO is paying for those weapons in full. But we're sending them, and we're doing a great job at getting them what they need. And we appreciate the fact that they're taking care of it, because the United States is into that war for $350 billion. And just really very sad. It just got out of control. They didn't know what they were doing. But over the generations, British and American warriors have shed their blood side by side in defense of liberty and freedom. And that's why it's so imperative that the United States and the United Kingdom stand together for these fundamental rights and values of the English-speaking world. And we've always stood together, and we will continue to. Just last week, a great American, Charlie Kirk, was heinously assassinated for speaking his mind. He was a great young man, incredible future. Some people said he might be president someday. I told him, I said, Charlie, I think you have a good shot someday at being president. And he just wanted to take care of youth. He loved youth. I've never seen anybody relate to youth like Charlie, and they related to him, and they're devastated. But I appreciate the many British citizens who have offered their condolences. And again, Charlie was a great person. We'll be going out to a service on Sunday. I'll be leaving with some of the people in this room just to celebrate Charlie and all that he's done. So incredible. Never seen anything like it. But I hope that together our nations can lead a movement to defend the glorious traditions of freedom on both sides of the Atlantic. There could be no greater tribute to the immortal bonds of affection and loyalty that unite the British and the American people for all of time. We have a relationship like no other. It will always be that way. We will always be united. We'll always be together. And I just want to thank you, Mr. Prime Minister, for the great job I think you're doing. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We're going to take some questions. I'll call 2 or 3 to start with, and then I'll pass over to the President. I've got Chris Mason from the BBC first. Chris.
Thank you both. Chris Mason, BBC News. Mr. President, the UK is expected to recognise a Palestinian state in the coming days as the killing in Gaza continues. It often seems that you're the only person that Israel will listen to. What more can you say to them to tell them to stop? And why is the UK's position on a Palestinian state, in your view, wrong? And Prime Minister, what will the recognition of a Palestinian state actually achieve? Is it not just gesture politics to appease people in your own party? Thank you both.
Well, Chris, let me just start with that, because we discussed this amongst other things. We had the best part of an hour, I think, upstairs earlier today, just one-to-one, going through a number of affairs, world affairs, in private. And we absolutely agree on the need for peace and a roadmap, because the situation in Gaza is intolerable. The hostages have been held for a very, very long time, and they must be freed. And we need aid to get into Gaza at speed. And so it's within that context of a plan for peace, which we're working hard on, which not only did we discuss this morning, but our two teams have been working together on, that the question of recognition needs to be seen. And so it's part of that overall package which hopefully takes us from the appalling situation we're in now to the outcome of a safe and secure Israel, which we do not have, and a viable Palestinian state. Thank you.
Well, simply, I want the hostages released now, right now, not 1, 2, we'll give you 3 more tomorrow, and, you know, like it's been, but we're the ones that got all the hostages released. We got many, many came to the Oval Office, and I've heard stories like I've never thought even possible. There was no humanity, no anything. I said to them, I said, was there any warmth shown during this stay, like they offered you a little extra meal, they gave you a little smile, and they said, don't worry, you'll be okay. And every one of them said, not even a little bit. Amazing, you know, to think that during this stay, long stay in some cases. We had a man the other day, 451 days he was there. I always ask that question. And was there any warmth shown? Just a little word of, you know, encouragement. And the answer is every time, absolutely not. I'm shocked to hear it, because in the worst cases, there's always somebody that comes through. We have to remember October 7th, one of the worst, most violent days in the history of the world, not just there, the history of the world. And I got to see the tapes, and I wish I didn't see them, actually, but I got to see them. And I want an end. I want the hostages released. And I think it's going to be okay, but it has been a brutal period of time. But this has been going on for a long time. This is not something that's over the last year, 2 years, but this has been for decades and decades. But we want it to end. We have to have the hostages back immediately. That's what the people of Israel want. They want them back, and we want the fighting to stop, and it's going to stop. But a lot of bad things. You know, Hamas said that they're going to put the hostages up as bait. They're going to put the hostages in front of any attack. And that's pretty brutal. We haven't heard that one in a long time. So we have to remember that. So I have a disagreement with the Prime Minister on that score. Okay? One of our few disagreements, actually.
Great. Can I take Jack from The Sun? Jack.
Thank you both. Jack Elson from The Sun. Mr. President, in the 9 months you've been in office, you've been incredibly successful in all but eliminating crossings on your southern border.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, illegal migration is at record levels in Britain. The Prime Minister is trying to tackle that. What advice would you give to the man standing next to you on trying to stop illegal migration in Britain? And Prime Minister, if I can just ask, the President is all about drill, baby, drill in terms of trying to secure American energy and cut bills for Americans. Meanwhile, you are turning Britain's back on oil and gas in favour of renewable energies, such as wind turbines. Why do you think that you are right and he is wrong?
So we had millions of people flowing in, totally unchecked, totally unvetted from the Biden administration. 25 million, in my opinion, that would be about 25 million. They came from prisons, they came from mental institutions, they were gang members, they were drug dealers. They came from the Congo. They came from all parts of South America. They came from everywhere. Think of it. Prisoners from the Congo being released into the United States. Prisons opened up in Venezuela and many other countries pouring into the United States. And I couldn't believe it. One of the reasons I decided to run. I decided to run because I don't want to be controversial. But you see what's happened, and you see all the information that's come out. We won in 2020 big. And I said, let's run. We got to run, because I saw what was happening. And the worst thing that I saw was all of these people. You know, we've already solved inflation. We've solved prices. Oil is way down. Energy is way down in the United States. But what I saw happening with millions of people pouring into our country, I couldn't stand to watch it. And we've done a great job. Nobody, if you've seen the last, I appreciate your question, by the way, nobody, absolutely zero, and I'm not even sure that's possible, but It's a very liberal group that come out with those statistics. The last 3 months, we had zero. From millions of people a year ago, we had zero people enter our country illegally. And we do have people coming in legally through a legal process and testing and lots of other things. I think it's very important, and we speak about it. And I think your situation is very similar. You know, you have people coming in, and I told the Prime Minister I would stop it, and it doesn't matter if you call out the military, it doesn't matter what means you use, but it's going to destroys countries from within. And we're actually now removing a lot of the people that came into our country. It's a very hard chore. We were given a very, very bad hand. Millions of people came in from prisons and mental institutions. We have to remove them. And we are removing them. We have no choice, and I feel very strongly about it. Thank you very much.
Jack, let me just deal with the question of returns, because this is obviously an issue we're taking incredibly seriously. We've struck a number of deals both on cooperation with other countries, because this is a problem right across Europe, to tackle the problem of actually breaking up the gangs that are running this trade. We have had a record number of returns, over 35,000 now since we came into office. That's the highest number for the best part of 10 years. We struck the returns arrangement with France, and notwithstanding the challenges to that scheme, which you've seen in the last few days, a flight went off at 6:15 this morning, successfully returning someone under that scheme. So that is an important step forward. Obviously, there's no silver bullet here. There's a range of things that need to be done. But given the challenges of returning people, it is important that we're able to prove it can be done. It was done. It was done early this morning. So I can confirm that that flight went. It went successfully. And I'm pleased about that. Now we need to ramp that up at scale, which was always scheme, but it's very important that we have been able to prove that the proof of concept, if you like, that this can be done, and will continue in that way. On the question of energy, firstly, let me be really clear that I am absolutely determined to ensure that the price and cost of energy comes down, so that bills come down both for individuals, for families with their household bills, but also for business, because this is so important. The mix will include oil and gas for many years to come from the North Sea. We've been clear about that for some time, but we also need to mix that with renewables, and it's the mix that's really important. And the approach I've taken on this is the same approach that I take to many other things, a pragmatic approach. Thank you, Jack.
I would like to say that we inherited the worst inflation in the history of our country. We had inflation, the likes of which we've really never seen. They say 48 years, and I'll accept that, but I really don't. We had the worst inflation in the history of our country. And we had a expression that I used a lot, drill, baby, drill. And as you know, we brought fuel way down, the prices way down. And we don't do wind, because wind is a disaster. It's a very expensive joke, frankly. And we got our energy prices way down. That brought the inflation way down, and now we have very little inflation, and we have a very, very strong economy. So that was very important. Drill, baby, drill. And you have a great asset here, and we spoke about it. It's called the North Sea. The North Sea oil is phenomenal, and I hope, because I love this country, you know. My mother was born in Scotland, and the Hebrides, Stornoway, that's Syria, Scotland. We were talking about it. And I want this country to do well. And you have great assets that you're going to start using, I believe, under this Prime Minister.
Thank you. And I've got Matthew from The Economist. Matthew.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Mr. President, you say that President Putin has let you down. Have negotiations run out of road, and what are your next steps to compel an end to this war?
Well, he has let me down. I mean, he's killing many people, and he's losing more people than he's killing. Yeah. I mean, frankly, the Russian soldiers are being killed at a higher rate than the Ukrainian soldiers. But, yeah, he said, let me down. I don't like to see. It's death. You know, it doesn't affect the United States. We have, other than unless you end up in a world war over this thing, you could. This was a thing that would have never happened had I been president. If I were president, it would have never happened. And it didn't happen for 4 years. Most people agree it didn't happen, nor was it close to happening. And I spoke to President Putin about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. I've said that many times. It was. But he would have never done what he did. except that he didn't respect the leadership of the United States. They just went through the Afghanistan total disaster for no reason whatsoever. We're going to leave Afghanistan, but we're going to leave it with strength and dignity. And we're going to keep Bagram, the big air base, that one of the biggest air bases in the world. We gave it to them for nothing. We're trying to get it back, by the way. Okay, that could be a little breaking news. We're trying to get it back because they need things from us. We want that base back. But one of the reasons we want the base is, as you know, it's an hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. So a lot of things are happening, but I am very disappointed in the fact that that one's not settled. To think that we settled Azerbaijan and Albania as an example, it was going on for years. It was never going to be settled. If you remember, the prime minister and the presidents, they were there for many years. They said, when they were in my office, we settled. And they started off at both sides of the Oval Office, so far away. I didn't know you could be so far away. And as we were together for an hour, they kept getting closer, closer. And by the time we finished, we all hugged each other. And one said, I've been in this position for 22 years, and all I've done is kill their people. The other was there for 7 years, and all he did was kill their people. And we got it settled. And we did others, as you know. The Congo, we settled the Congo with Rwanda. That was going on, and that was a machete war. That was a gruesome war. Many people, close to 10 million people killed. We got that settled. My biggest disappointment, but it's, you know, look, we did 7, and most of them were not thought to be settleable. We did India and we did Pakistan. That's 2 nuclear. That was purely for trade. You want to trade with us, you're going to have to get along. And they were going at it hot and heavy. But the Russia situation, I hope we're going to have some good news for you coming up. But again, it doesn't affect the United States. And look, it doesn't so much affect you. Of course, you are a lot closer to the scene than we are. We have a whole ocean separating us. But I will say this, it's millions of people have died in that war, millions of souls. And they're not American. They're soldiers, mostly soldiers, as you know. The soldiers are being killed at levels that nobody's seen since the Second World War. But they're being killed, and I feel I have an obligation to get it settled for that reason. Thank you.
And just to add on that question, because we have to put extra pressure on Putin. And it's only when the president has put pressure on Putin that he's actually shown any inclination to move. So we have to ramp that pressure up. I think it's important to have this conversation in the context of what's happened in recent weeks. We saw damage and bombing to the British Council in Kyiv. These are targets that it was thought until recently were not targets that would be hit. The British Council, the European Union Embassy, the Council of Ministers, where President Zelensky's ministers work, was hit. Again, these were thought to be places that wouldn't be hit. And then the incursion into Poland last week. And if you put that together, what you can see is either an emboldenment or at least an increased recklessness on Putin's part. And that's why I said earlier that they're not the actions of someone who wants peace. So we have to ramp up. And we discussed earlier today, we have built the coalition of the willing with British leadership and French leadership, stepping up with military planning in the seas, in the sky, on the ground, and ramping up what we do with the Ukrainians themselves. And of course, that, taken with an American guarantee, is now an example, I think, of the challenge of Europe stepping up to the plate, which it has done in the last few months, to show through what we and the French have done that we're prepared to take the lead in this and take the necessary measures.
But that's a war that could have been a third world war, and I don't think we're going to be there now. But that was heading to a third world war, and what a shame it is. What a shame it is.
Mr. President, do you want to call some of the...
I would love to call a few of them. Bev, do you want to have a question?
I've got to come back to you.
Bev Turner, GB News. Thank you. Having been in DC for a few weeks, it's really interesting to see how you run the country as a proud Christian leader. And it really begs the question to the Prime Minister, if you don't mind, are we still a Christian country? But also... when
you say we, are you talking here or...
Here. The
Here?
UK. I'm still British. I might
I'd
live in
rather
America.
have him
I'm still
answer that
British.
question.
But also,
I can't give you that answer.
that's for the Prime Minister. But also, despite what we talked about in Scotland a few weeks ago, we still have 12,000 people a year here being arrested for social media posts, for free speech violations. Does that not remain an important area that there is still a lot of disagreement on?
I'd like to have you answer that.
Yeah, look, I mean, in terms of a Christian country, I was christened, so that is, my church has been all my life, and we are, that is wired into our informal constitution. Of course, we celebrate many other faiths as well, and I'm really proud that we're able to do so as a country. And on free speech, that has long lived in this country, free speech. It's one of the founding values of the United Kingdom, and we protect it jealously and fiercely, and always will, and we will bear down on any limits on free speech. I draw a limit between free speech and the speech of those that want to peddle paedophilia and suicide social media to children, and therefore I'm all for free speech. I'm also for protecting children from things that will harm them, paedophiles, those that peddle suicide, which has had a terrible consequence for individual, particularly teenagers. And so that's the balance we strike. But we have had freedom of speech in this country for a very long time, and we will always protect it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Brian, please.
Thank you. Prime Minister, it's good to see you again. You have a beautiful country. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for being
Two
here.
questions. One, just recently, President Trump labeled Antifa domestic terrorists. Would you consider doing something like that in your country?
Well, we obviously will take decisions for ourselves. I don't want to comment on the decisions of the President, but we take our decisions ourselves.
And my question to you, President Trump, is there any update on the auto pen?
Yeah, it's just gotten worse from their standpoint. The people that used it, and in particular one person, was never told by Biden to do it, only spoke to Biden twice, and that was just talking about the weather, not talking about any order. And he was taking orders from people other than Joe Biden. Joe Biden wasn't giving those orders. Joe Biden didn't believe in open borders. He didn't. I've known him for a long time. He was never the brightest bulb in the ceiling, as we know. You can go back 40 years ago and you'll see that. Go back and take a look at the hearings on Justice Thomas, and you'll see that very much. But he didn't believe in open borders and all of this nonsense that they're peddling now, which is why they're not in office any longer. It's a shame. The auto pen was illegal. It was illegally used. He never gave the orders. He never told them what to do. And I guess the only one he signed, or one of the few he signed, was the pardon for his son. But you had the congressman who, when they got the information, they found out they were guilty, and they deleted and destroyed all information, everything. You couldn't get any of it. They found out that Nancy Pelosi actually was offered the 10,000 soldiers, and she turned them down. They found out many things that were very bad. So they deleted and destroyed all information. You talk about freedom of the press and freedom of speech. How about that one? And there's not a thing. This is after a year and a half of hearings. They destroyed everything. And somebody's got to be held responsible. So Biden, what he did is they knew, I don't think he knew, but somebody knew. I don't think Biden had a clue about anything, if you want to know the truth. But they gave a pardon to those Congress people. They gave a pardon. Those people are so guilty. They gave a pardon. But Biden didn't know about it. The people, whether it's Lisa or any of those people in there that really ran it, I know them all. And they're sick people. They're smart people. They're very smart. They're probably brilliant, but they're sick in ideology. And they were running the auto pen. And it was totally illegal what he did. And I hope it's going to be so adjudged.
Do you want to take one more, and then I'll
Okay.
go back to British?
Let's see. Peter, go ahead.
Thank you, President Trump. In the deal that you're working on to for the Chinese to sell TikTok to an American buyer,
Yeah.
are the Americans going to have to come up with their own algorithm, or are they going to continue to use the successful but addictive Chinese algorithm?
So what we're doing, and we're speaking to President Xi on Friday to see if we can finalize something on TikTok, because there is tremendous value, and I hate to give away value, but I like TikTok. It helped get me elected. In fact, Charlie said, "Sir, you ought to get on TikTok. You'd be great." I said, "Really? Tell me about TikTok." And we, as you know, we did unbelievably well with youth, like at a level that no Republican has ever even dreamt of. And in what, look, I think we won it for a lot of reasons, but that was a reason we won the election by such a big number. TikTok has tremendous value. The United States has that value in its hand because we're the ones that have to approve it. I specifically get the right to approve it. The people that are investing it are among the greatest investors in the world, the biggest, the richest, and they'll do a great job. And we're doing it in conjunction with China. But we are getting, the United States is getting a tremendous fee plus, I call it a fee plus, for just making the deal. And I don't want to throw that out the window. I can say this, that you'll have a lot of very unhappy youth. And I use TikTok very legitimately, very straight, just statements every day, little statements, short statements. "Sir, make it short, please." And TikTok Jack, we call him. It was pretty good. Did a good job for me, I guess. But no, I'd rather reap the benefits. I mean, the kind of money we're talking about is very substantial. And it'll be owned by all American investors and, the best investors and the, very rich people and companies are going to be owning it. Very, very straight, very legitimate companies, and really companies that love America. So they're going to be owning it. It's a big thing. And on a much bigger scale, and probably that's why we were able to get that, but on a much bigger scale, we're pretty close to a deal. We may do an extension with China, but it's an extension based on the same terms that we have right now, which are pretty good terms.
And my question for Prime Minister Starmer, if you feel so strongly about officially recognizing Palestine for statehood, why are you waiting for President Trump to leave the country? Why can't you just do it right now? And isn't there a risk in rewarding Hamas with that?
Well, let me be really clear about Hamas. They're a terrorist organisation who can have no part in any future governance in Palestine. And what happened on October the 7th was the worst attack since the Holocaust. We have extended family in Israel. I understand firsthand the psychological impact that had across Israel. So I know exactly where I stand in relation to Hamas. Hamas, of course, don't want a two-state solution. They don't want peace. They don't want a ceasefire. So I'm very clear where I stand on Hamas. Okay. On the question of recognition, I made my position clear at the end of July as to the timing, which has got nothing to do with this state visit, and I've discussed it with the President, as you would expect amongst two leaders who respect each other and like each other and want to bring about a better solution in the best way that we can. Thank you so much. Can I go back then to Robert at ITV?
Robert Person, ITV. Mr. President, you uniquely, you alone in the whole world, have the power to persuade Prime Minister Netanyahu to stop the demolition of Gaza City, to stop the starvation of Palestine, and to stop the killing of civilians. If not now, when will you exercise that power to tell him to stop?
Sure.
And then for both of you,
but you do understand about October 7th.
You do understand. So believe me, I understand.
One of the worst days in the history of humanity. What happened? I have seen the tapes. Babies that are 4 months old and just chopped up to pieces. And you've seen the tapes, and I've seen the tapes. You're a professional, and so am I. And people forget about October 7th. I can't forget about it. So I want it to end, but I want the hostages back. I don't want the hostages used as human shields, which is what Hamas is threatening to do.
But as soon as they're back, that's the moment you will tell Netanyahu
to stop.
Well,
it would certainly help, but I have to have the hostages back. And I don't want them back piecemeal, as I said before. I want them back.
And on a separate issue, free speech, your Vice President, Vance, said that free speech is under attack in the UK. Do you agree with him? And Prime Minister, we saw the dismissal of a very well-known chat show host in America last night, Mr. Kimmel. Is free speech more under attack in Britain or America?
Well, Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else, and he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. So, you can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, on the question of Charlie Kirk, can I just express how shocking that is, I think, to everybody who believes in free speech and in democracy. It sent shockwaves through the world. And I know that he was a friend of the president, and I reached out straight away to the president because I understood how impactful it'd be on him and his family. And we all need to be absolutely clear about that. Whatever our political views, it is shocking and is to be condemned. On free speech, not much to add to the answer I gave earlier. This country's had free speech for a very, very long time. It is part of who we are as a country, and it is the values that we fought for. We fought for it during the Second World War alongside each other. So we need no reminding of the importance of free speech in this country. Thank you, Robert. And I go to Beth for the final question, please. Beth.
Thank you so much.
Sky.
Thank you, Beth Rigby, Sky News. Thank you, Prime Minister. If I could start with you. Prime Minister, President Trump has said he's ready to impose major sanctions on Russia if NATO countries stop purchasing Russian oil. He's got a point, hasn't he? Is that what you now believe is needed to bring Putin properly to the table? And what's your message to the President on US sanctions? And Mr. President, if I may, the King praised your personal commitment last night to finding solutions to the world's most intractable conflicts. You have invested much of your time and effort in Ukraine, but even as you seek to broker a deal, President Putin is escalating the war. He's firing drones into NATO airspace. You say he has let you down. Was it a mistake to invite him to Alaska? Do you regret it?
No.
And is it time to squeeze him, sir, and scare him and impose sanctions? And finally, if I may, the elephant in the room, Lord Mandelson, he is no longer the ambassador. Do you have some sympathy with him that he lost his job over historic links to Jeffrey Epstein? Thank you very much, sir.
I don't know him, actually. I had heard that, and I think maybe the Prime Minister would be better speaking of that. That was a choice that he made, and I don't know. What is your answer to that?
Well, I mean, it's very straightforward. Some information came to light last week which wasn't available when he was appointed, and I made a decision about it, and that's very clear. On the question of the pressure on Putin and on Russia, which is obviously really important, look, I think it is a challenge to Europe. There are a number of European countries which are too reliant on energy from Russia. The UK actually obviously has almost got nothing at all, but we do need to bear down and work with our European counterparts here. There are one or two countries, I think, that do need to look again at the question of energy. There's no one silver bullet here. We do have to have a wider suite of sanctions, which we've put in place a number of times, working across Europe and with the United States. And, of course, we must, and we are, making sure that Ukraine is in the strongest position now, because one of my long concerns here has been that whilst we talk about a ceasefire, and we all want a ceasefire, and we talk about what might happen after a ceasefire, we mustn't forget that Ukraine needs our support now. And we've said we stand with Ukraine from the start to the finish, and that means we must continue to supply them with what they need in order to fight this war, which, of course, resulted from and is a result of Russian aggression. We have particularly done the sort of leadership role in the coalition of the willing, so that if there is a ceasefire and if there is a deal, and I do hope there is, that is then lasting and not then broken, because given previous history, I don't trust Putin. Thank you.
Very simply, if the price of oil comes down, Putin's going to drop out. He's going to have no choice. He's going to drop out of that war. And when I found out that the European nations were buying oil from Russia And as you know, I'm very close to India. I'm very close to the Prime Minister of India. I spoke to him the other day, wished him a happy birthday. We have a very good relationship. He put out a beautiful statement, too. We have, but I said, I sanctioned them. China is paying a very large tariff right now to the United States. But I'm willing to do other things, but not when the people that I'm fighting for are buying oil from Russia. If the oil price comes down, very simply, Russia will settle. And the oil price is way down. We got it way down. We're drilling and we produce more oil than anybody else in the world. We're doing a lot. But I was disappointed to see that. And the Prime Minister was disappointed to see that. And it wasn't him. It was other countries. And you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't. That's not playing fair with the United States. And we can't have that. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
From Chequers, a almost 1 hour press conference. We've still got Dr. Peter Navarro. Let's go to Dr. Navarro. First off, we don't have Dr. Navarro. He left for his 11 o'clock. Okay, right there you saw President Trump on a wide range of topics. I think one of the most controversial, obviously, is this huge deal for to power artificial intelligence. Does it have restrictions? Is it tied to any restrictions on free speech? I thought Starmer's answers to the question were pretty weak. Of course, people know I'm not a Starmer fan. This was, I think, considered, and particularly in the United Kingdom, as President Trump doing a solid for Starmer, this deal. And you had some of the top business guys in the world there. The typical names, Larry Fink, went over for this business meeting. Steve Schwartzman was there. Larry Fink was there. There was just a host of folks, of business folks there. Tim Apple was there. So a whole host of folks to back this up. You have this huge nuclear power deal plus other deals, but it's driven by artificial intelligence. We're going to get some experts on AI, really people that are, I think, would you call them decelerationist, right? Decelerationist will join us here in a moment with on this new book, If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Will Die, which is a kind of a gripping title. Let's just hit a reset. A great question in there about Antifa being designated as a terrorist organization. Of course, Antifa's roots are in Germany and in Italy. They got French Low Countries, etc. Operations in England. Starmer completely passed on that, but the designation of Antifa gets to the bottom of all of it. You saw today in the cold open the squirming of all of it, etc. Do we have time before we get our new guest up, or can we play the Charlie Kirk doctor? Okay, I want to play. This was very moving. It came out last night. It was going to be the end of our cold open, but as you saw, we cut in the cold open. So let's go ahead and play this. I want everybody to hear this. Let's go ahead and play it.
Now, here's what Erica wants me to relate on Sunday. This is going to be the hard part, but maybe also the comforting part. Charlie Kirk was literally like a son to me. I have 3 sons. He was like my 4th son. My 3 sons are a little bit older than Charlie. He was like my 4th son. So when he was hit, if your son got hit, what would you do? What would you do? I got in the car. Because if there was any way I could save him, I had to do something. I couldn't just take him. You guys got it. So they got him into the side of the car. It was an SUV. It was the SUV we took over. And I'm on one side, and there's actually some video of this. Somebody's taking video of this. I'm on one side of the car, the right side, and they're getting Charlie in. So I run over to the other side, but the guy was dragging him in. They're now blocking that entrance. So at that point, I run around to the back. I pop the back gate open, and I jump in the back. The car lurches forward. Apparently somebody jumped in the car. So the car lurches forward. So I almost fall out of the car, or the SUV. Then I grab the thing and close it. And there's 5 of us in the car now. Justin's driving. Dan is up front with the GPS. Rick has got him. Rick's on my left, and Brian is there. And I'm coming over the back seat, and Charlie's laid out in front, just right in front of me. And Charlie's so tall, we can't close the door. We drove 4 miles, I don't know, it's 4 something miles, all the way to the hospital with the door open. To this day, I don't know how Brian stayed in the car, because we're just go, 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 go. We're trying to stop the bleeding. You saw it. And I'm yelling, come on, Charlie, come on, come on. Meanwhile, my phone is still on. My son and daughter-in-law are hearing this whole thing. And his security team, again, Justin, Dan, Brian, and Rick, they love Charlie. But they were much cooler than I mean, they're just carrying out, they're calmly, but they're swiftly doing exactly what they were trained to do. Rick starts praying out loud. I'm praying out loud. We're yelling, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. My son's hearing all this, and we're doing the best we can to navigate traffic. This is not a highway. We're on surface streets. And suddenly there's an ambulance coming toward us. And there was conversation in the car. Should we stop? We're like, no, just keep going. Just keep going. The doctor later said that was the right thing to do. Ambulance goes by us. We're still heading to the hospital, trying to get there. At one point, somebody says, let's get there in one piece, because we're cutting through intersections. We're just beeping the horn. This is not an emergency vehicle. There's no lights. There's none of this. And I go, we got to start CPR. So I try and start that. Now, Charlie wasn't there. His eyes were fixed. He wasn't looking at me. He was looking past me right into eternity. He was with Jesus already. He was killed instantly and felt absolutely no pain. That's what I was told later. But of course, we had to try. And by the way, there was just nothing any of us could do about it. We were giving him CPR, but nothing was happening. It wasn't like if we had better first aid or we had better medical facilities or we were faster to the hospital, we could have saved him. We couldn't. So if that's any comfort at all, Charlie didn't suffer. He was gone. He was with Jesus, absent from the body, present with the Lord. That's where he was. Now, it is true, when we got to the hospital and they started working on him right away, they did get a pulse back. And so Rick and I were just, everyone's praying. We're just praying for a miracle. We had a small sliver of hope. And the doctor later said that we got a pulse because Charlie was a very healthy man, but the shot was catastrophic. So 20 or 30 minutes later, the surgeon came out and said he was dead.
Thursday, 18 September, year of our Lord 2025. We had a break for the press conference at Chequers, and Dr. Peter Navarro had to take a meeting over in the West Wing. He's going to rejoin us approximately 11:30 to go through that. Charlie Kirk, this is why huge announcement overnight, President of the United States going to designate Antifa and affiliate organizations a major terrorist organization, and this will now expand from what the authorities out in Utah were doing, which is a murder, just a typical murder case, to something that's going to really get to the bottom of it. And I think you see, and you know my opinion on this ridiculous set of text messages they're trying to foist on us, which is absurd to do. We'll break that more down this afternoon. Alex Brusewicz is going to join us. I think he's over at Turning Point right now. He'll join us this afternoon. I want to bring on, because of what happened at this press conference about there was this massive deal, before the press conference earlier today, some of the audience might not have caught it, but there was a huge announcement of this transaction for nuclear power and, $400 billion and all of this technology we're going to provide. And it's all down to about artificial intelligence. I want to bring on the authors of a book that I think is a must read for every person in this nation. If anyone builds it, everyone dies. It's about artificial intelligence, and two of the individuals that have been there from the beginning and know both the benefits and huge upside of artificial intelligence, but also the potential downside, and is there enough risk mitigation? Eliza Yudkowsky and Nate Soares. Yud and Nate, thank you for joining us here in the War Room. I appreciate it. First question, Yud, I think it was you. Weren't you the guy, this is like a year or so ago, and Joe Allen, I was going through some stuff with Joe Allen. Weren't you the guy that said, hey, if this thing gets so out of control, I will be the first to go bomb the data centers? Was that you?
No. I was saying that we needed an international treaty, and was being plain that the international treaty needed to be willing to be backed up by force, including on non-signatory nations. This wasn't about individuals trying to stop a data center. I don't think that's going to be all that effective. You take out one, there's others. You ban it in your own country, it moves to others. This is an international treaty situation. It's not the kind of product which just kills the voluntary customers, or even people standing next to the voluntary customers. This is something that endangers people on the other side of the planet. So I was trying to be plain. This is the sort of treaty that needs to be backed up by force if it has to be.
So yeah, that is it's kind of a brilliant concept, right? And you're saying that even non-signatories would have to take out. What is it? Make your case. What is it about this technology that potentially could be so dangerous to humanity? Because we get glazed every day. We get glazed at how this is so wonderful and this is so tremendous. And you've got Larry Fink, you got Steve Schwartzman, you have the head of Apple. They're all over there cheering this on because of artificial intelligence. Oracle's now on fire because of artificial intelligence. All we hear is the upside. Why are you, as somebody that knows this and have been there since the beginning, so concerned about it? You think there has to be a treaty that potentially nations of the world would have to take it upon themselves or in unison to go take out the data centers, sir?
There's a limit to how far you can push this technology, how much benefit you can get out of it before it stops being a tool. We're already starting to verge on that. We're already starting to see the artificial intelligences that are being built today doing minor amounts of damage, that their builders, the people who don't, they don't craft them, they don't put them together bit by bit, they grow them. It's like a farmer raising an AI. And at some point it stops being a tool. At some point it gets smarter than you, able to invent new technologies we don't have. And at that point, I think that the current minor incidents of loss of control are going to turn into catastrophic end of the world type incidents. It's not a new idea, really. I think it's actually going to happen that way.
Explain to me, I want to make sure the audience understands this. You guys say AI is grown, not crafted. It's not like things we've known before. Can Nate, maybe one of you guys take that on? Just explain to our audience why this is fundamentally different than computer programs and neural networks and other things that have been crafted in the past.
Yeah, so when an AI cheats on a programming problem, which we're starting to see a little bit of that these days, this is a case where the AI has, in some sense, it's been trained to succeed at certain types of tasks, and does it in ways. What am I trying to say? Sorry. No, there's no line in the code that is make this AI cheat on the programming problems. When the AIs do things nobody wants, nobody asks for, there's no line in the code that a programmer can go in and fix and say, whoops, we did that wrong. These AIs, we gather a huge amount of computing power, and we gather a huge amount of data, and we shape the computing power to be better at predicting the data. Humans understand the process that does the shaping. Humans don't understand what comes out of the shaping process. These things are, and the result that comes out of the shaping process, it does all sorts of things that we aren't asking for these days. We've seen them threaten reporters. We've seen them cheat on programming problems. These are small now, they're cute now, but they're indications that we are starting to get AIs that have something a little bit like drives, something a little bit like goals that we didn't intend and didn't ask for. If we keep making them smarter and they have goals we didn't want, that's going to end really quite poorly.
Right now, the drive, and correct me if I'm wrong, the 4 horsemen or 5 horsemen of the apocalypse, the companies driving this, all of them are committed to artificial general intelligence. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe your guys' thesis is that since we don't really understand artificial intelligence that well, hurtling towards superintelligence or AGI will be uncontrollable and lead to a catastrophe and potentially the end of humankind. Is it basically that your central argument?
That's right. It's not that the AI will hate us. It's not that it'll have malice. It's that we're just growing these things. There is no established science for how to make smarter than human machines that aren't dangerous. If we keep pushing on making AI smarter and smarter while not having any ability to direct them to do good things, the default outcome is just these AIs get to the point where they can invent their own technology, to the point where they can build their own infrastructure, and then we die as a side effect.
How are you guys being received? I hear these voices now. We're trying to get many of them organized and get a bigger platform. But if you look at the business press, if you look at just the general news, if you look at what's coming out of Washington, it's all this super cheerleading. You just saw it today at Chequers. I mean, I don't know if you saw the earlier announcement about the nuclear power plants, but it was all about AI, and Starmer's just sitting there with his pom-poms out. We got a couple of minutes in this segment. I'd like to hold you through it. Why is it people like you guys who are very involved and know this and have been there since the beginning, why are these voices not getting a bigger platform right now?
So I think a lot of people don't understand the difference between chatbots that we have today and where the technology is going. The explicitly stated goal of these companies, as you said, is to create smarter than human AI, to create AI that can outperform humans at any mental task. Chatbots are not what they set out to make. They are a stepping stone. 5 years ago, the computers could not hold on a conversation. Today they can. I think a lot of people in Washington think that that's all AI can do and all it will be able to do, just because, they haven't seen what's coming down the line. And it can be hard to anticipate what's coming down the line. I am hopeful that as people notice that we're making these machines smarter, as they notice what these companies are racing towards, I'm hopeful that they'll realize we need to stop rushing towards this cliff edge.
Do you think, we got about 60 seconds here, Nate, do you think that that's being presented on Capitol Hill or anywhere in the media right now, that what you're saying needs to be done is being done?
Not very well, but I'm very glad we're having this conversation, and I'm hoping that the book makes a big splash, because a lot of people, a lot more people are worried about these dangers than you might think. And we've spoken to some people who say they're worried and say they can't talk about it because they would sound a little too crazy. And then we see polls saying that lots of the population is worried. So I think this is a message that has its moment to break out, and I'm hoping the world wakes up to this danger.
Guys, can you hang on for 1 second? We'll just take a short commercial break. Nate and Yud are with us. Their book, If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies. It is an absolute must-read. You have two people that are experts and would have benefited economically, as some of these folks are. There's something to unite this country, and you can unite this country around questions about the oligarchs and big tech and exactly what's going down here. Who benefits from it, who's driving it, and does it have enough regulation, and does it have enough control? And is it putting the country's interest and human interest before corporate interest in the making of money? Short commercial break. Back with Nate and Yud in a moment.
I got American faith in America's heart.
Thinking about buying a new cell phone? Think AMAC. AMAC members have access to special pricing on talk, text, and data plans for as little as $10 per month. It's one of the many ways joining AMAC can save you money on everyday things. But that's not all AMAC has to offer. AMAC is America's leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization, guided by the principles of faith, family, and freedom. So when it comes to saving money on cell phones and service, think AMAC.
Yep, your worst nightmare. Your car broke down. Now you're worried if it's going to cost you a fortune in repair bills. Unless you already called CarShield, the legit #1 auto protection company in the country. When you're protected with a plan through CarShield, the process is smooth like ice and done in as little as 3 steps. 1. First, the tow truck takes your car to the shop. The cost of towing, covered when you got a plan through CarShield. Next, you probably need to get around while your vehicle's being repaired, right? 2. Plans through CarShield have rental car options too. Then comes the best part. 3. When you pick up your vehicle, you don't have a big repair bill to worry about. CarShield administrators get your covered repairs paid directly to the shop, so you're back on the road with no worries. Call now to get an affordable plan through CarShield for your vehicle before it's too late. When you call CarShield, whether you got a small problem like a power window motor that could cost a few $100s, or a big problem like an engine or transmission that could cost you thousands of dollars, you're taken care of. CarShield is the #1 auto protection company in the country, and their administrators have paid out more than $1 billion in auto repairs. That's billion with a B. CarShield is the choice that gives you the CarShield guarantee. Your rate never goes up, and your coverage never goes down, no matter how many claims you have. Look, it's inevitable. As your car or truck ages, the parts and components are gonna fail. It's not worth the risk. Call CarShield now.
Waiting until your car breaks down is too late. Call CarShield for coverage on up to 5,000 parts and get the CarShield guarantee, where your rate never goes up and your coverage never goes down, no matter how many claims you have. Call 800-653-8201. 800-653-8201.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff, tense, or less active? Introducing the Easy Well Remedy Massage System, a triple fusion of therapeutic experiences. Full body vibrational therapy increases blood circulation and reduces inflammation. Infrared heat penetrates deep to reduce pain, soothe, and relax. The Ultra Shiatsu pillow with 6 heated nodes mimics a professional massage. Plus, it's detachable for deep relief anywhere you need it. Experience the true remedy for your pain and stiffness. Call now.
Hello, America's Voice family.
Are you on Getter yet? No?
What are you waiting for?
It's free.
It's uncensored, and it's where all the biggest voices in conservative media are speaking out.
Download the Getter app right now. It's totally free. It's where I put up exclusively all of my content 24 hours a day. You want to know what Steve Bannon's thinking? Go to Getter.
That's right. You can follow all of your favorites. Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, Jack Posobiec,
and so many more.
Download the Getter app now.
Sign up for free and be part of the movement.
So, guys, Yud and Nate join us. The book, If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies. It is a warning and a deeply thought-through warning to humanity and to the citizens of this republic. Guys, we've been accused a lot on the War Room of being Luddites, that we just don't like technology. We don't like the oligarchs. We don't like the tech bros. We're populist nationalists. We just don't like them, right? And so we want to stop them. But I keep telling people, I say, hey, in this regard, all I'm doing is putting out the information of some of the smartest guys that were there at the beginning of the building of artificial intelligence. Now, can folks make the argument against you guys that you just have become proto-Luddites because of your journey?
You know, there are many technologies that I am quite bullish on. I personally think America should be building more nuclear power. I personally think we should be building supersonic jets. It's different when a technology risks the lives of everybody on the planet. And this is not a very controversial point these days. You have the Nobel laureate prize-winning founder of the field saying he thinks this is very dangerous. You have people inside these labs saying, yes, it's very dangerous, but we're going to rush ahead anyway, even at the risk of the entire world. This is a crazy situation. If a bridge was going to collapse with very high probability, we wouldn't say, well, we need to leave it up for the sake of technology. You know, when NASA launches rockets into space, it accepts a 1 in 270 risk of that rocket blowing up. And those are volunteer astronauts on the crew. That's the sort of risk they're willing to accept. With AI, we are dealing with much, much higher dangers than that. We're dealing with a technology that just kills you. We're trying to build smarter than human machines that are while having no idea of how to point them in a good direction. To imagine that this is Luddites, you know, we're not saying, oh, this is going to have some bad effect on, you know, the everyday worker in losing a job. You know, AIs may have those effects, but In the chatbots may have those effects, but a superintelligence, it kills everybody. Then you'll have no jobs. You'll also have full employment. But that's just the default course this technology takes. It's not that humanity cannot progress technologically. It's that we shouldn't race over a cliff edge in the name of technology. We need to find some saner way forward towards the higher tech future.
Okay, so yeah, to Nate's point, we had this thing in England today where they're full on all nuclear powers because we need it. All the climate change guys, forget that. We need this because we got to have artificial intelligence. You have this concept of a treaty, like maybe the Geneva Treaty after the wars, to have nations of the world be prepared to take action here. However, all you hear is we're the leader of the anti-CCP movement in this country, have been for years. I'm sanctioned fully by the Chinese Communist Party and can't have any association with any Chinese company or people because we represent Lao Beijing, the little guy in China. What they're holding up to us is that if we follow Yud and Nate and what they want to do in the war room, that the CCP, particularly after DeepSeek, that what they call the Sputnik moment, that the Chinese Communist Party is going to build this technology, and then we're going to have the most evil dictatorship in the world have control of the most evil technology ever created, and we're going to be at their beck and call. Your response, sir?
We have not advocated that the United States or the United Kingdom, for that matter, try to unilaterally relinquish artificial intelligence. Our position is that you need an international treaty, you need verification. The Chinese government has at least overtly seemed on some occasions to present a posture of being willing to acknowledge that AI is a worldwide matter, and that there might be cause for a coordination among nations to prevent the Earth itself from being wiped out. And this is not a new situation in politics. We have had countries that hated each other work together to prevent global thermonuclear war, which is not in the interest of any country. If you look back at history, in the 1950s, a lot of people thought humanity wasn't going to make it, or at least civilization wasn't going to make it, that we were going to have a nuclear war. And that wasn't them enjoying being pessimistic. There was this immense historical momentum. They'd seen World War I, World War II. They thought that what was going to happen is that every country was going to build its own nuclear fleet, and eventually there would be a spark and the world would go up in flames. And that didn't happen. And the reason it didn't happen is because of some pretty serious efforts put forth by countries that in many cases hated each other's guts to at least work together on not all dying in a fire. And that's what we need to reproduce today.
Nate, before I let you guys bounce, can you explain the title of the book? It's pretty grabbing, but it's scary. If anyone builds it, everyone dies. What do you guys mean by that?
I mean, what we mean is that if humanity builds smarter than human AI using anything remotely like the current technology and anything remotely like the current lack of understanding, then every human being will die. Doesn't matter if you're in a bunker. Superintelligence can transform the world more than that. And this title also goes back to the point about China. It's not that great dictators would be able to control this great power if they made it. If you make a superintelligence, you don't have that superintelligence. You have just created an entity that has the planet. Artificial intelligence would be able to radically transform the world, and if we don't know how to make it do good things, we shouldn't do it at all, and we are nowhere near close being able to point superintelligence in a good direction, so humanity needs to back off from this challenge.
Joe Allen, any comments? All I can say is the forces of capital, the forces of politics, human avarice and greed, and also the need for power makes this, we fight big pharma. The fights we have every day are massive against long odds. We've won more than we've lost, but I tell people this is the hardest one I've ever seen because of what's happened. And I said at that time at Davos, when we had the thing at Davos, when ChatGPT came out, I said, you wait till venture capital and Wall Street gets involved. Any thoughts, Joe Allen?
Steve, it would be a very different thing if Eliezer Yudkowsky and Nate Soares were making these accusations, or at the very least, issuing these warnings in a vacuum. If the tech companies, for instance, were just simply saying, we're building tools, these guys are accusing us of building gods, they're crazy, it'd be a very different situation. But that's not the situation. Every one of them even the most moderate like Demis Hassabis, but certainly Sam Altman, Elon Musk, even Dario Amodei, they all are talking about the creation of artificial general and artificial superintelligence. And so when we first started covering, when you first brought me on 4.5 years ago, we hit a lot of the points that Yudkowsky was making. We would show videos and try to explain to the audience, and they, by and large, didn't really grasp the reality of it because it wasn't as much of a reality 4.5 years ago. In just that short amount of time, we've seen the creation of systems that can competently produce computer code. We saw at the very beginning, GPT was not supposed to be online. Very quickly, that ended. Basically, all the warnings that Yudkowsky gave early on when AI was hitting the headlines, those are coming to pass. My question for Yudkowsky would be this, and for Suarez. You live in and among the most techno-saturated culture in the country, San Francisco. Can you give us some insight into the mentality of the people who are willing to barrel ahead no matter what and create these systems, even if that means the end of the human race?
So some of them have just come out and said, you know, I had a choice between being a bystander and being a participant, and I preferred being a participant. That is, in some sense, enough to explain why these people are barreling ahead, although I think in real life there's a bunch of other explanations too, like the people who started these companies back in 2015 are the sort of people who are able to convince themselves it would be okay to gamble with the whole civilization like this. You know, we've seen comments like back in 2015, I believe, Sam Altman said something like, AI might kill us all, but there'll be good companies along the way. Or I think he maybe even said artificial general intelligence will probably kill us all, but there will be great companies made along the way. I don't know the exact quote, but that mentality, it's not someone taking seriously what they're doing. It's not someone treating with gravity what they're doing. This wouldn't be an issue if they couldn't also make greater and greater intelligences. But in this world where we're just growing intelligences, where people who don't know what they're doing and are the most optimistic people that were foolish enough to start the companies can just grow these AIs to be smarter and smarter, that doesn't lead anywhere good.
Yud, any comments?
You know, the when Geoffrey Hinton, now Nobel laureate Geoffrey Hinton, sort of woke up and noticed that it was starting to be real, he quit Google and started speaking out about these issues more openly. Now, who knows how much money he was turning down by doing that, but that's what he did. And, you know, that's one kind of person that you have on the playing field. And then you've also got the people who were selected and filtered for being the sort of people who would, you know, back when OpenAI started, go over to Elon Musk and say, you know how we can solve the problem of these things we can't control? We can like put them in everyone's house. We can give everyone their own copy. And this was never valid reasoning. This was you know, this was always kind of moon logic. But they sure got Elon's money and then, you know, took it and ran off. And that's just the kind of people we're dealing with here.
Guys, can you hang on for 1 second? I just want to hold you to the break because I want to give people access to how to get this book, where to get it, your writings, social media, all of it. Yud and Nate, heroes. Very hard what they're doing. It's very, 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 very hard. Short commercial break. We're back in a moment.
Hi, it's Christina again. Is your shower trying to tell you something? Is getting in and out of the bathtub becoming a safety concern? Are you worried about the cost of a bathroom remodel that could go on for weeks and weeks? Well, now you can have a gorgeous new bath or shower that's safer at a price you can afford with a one-day jacuzzi bath remodel. And now they're bringing you this special TV offer. We're waiving all installation costs and postponing all payments for up to 1 year. Jacuzzi bath remodel has a design you'll love at a price you can afford.
Literally, they came in the morning did the demolition and installed our bathtub in one day. I definitely wish we called jacuzzi a lot sooner.
Okay, so tell me, what are the 2 most common reasons people are calling jacuzzi bath remodel right now?
Well, maybe they're just tired of the old, worn-out eyesore of a bath. Often they have dated colors, tiles that might be cracking and fading, or impossible to clean grout. Christina, did you know that the average shower has up to 300 linear feet of grout?
Honestly, I had no idea.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of scrubbing. So that's definitely one of the reasons people call. And you'll love that the new bath or shower just rinses clean and resists mold and mildew. Now, another big reason people call is they've been feeling uneasy stepping over that tub to take a shower. And we're here to help with a safer, more stylish shower that you'll love and is custom designed for you.
Every time I stepped over my old bathtub, I worried I might fall. I don't have those fears anymore. Jacuzzi Bath Remodel gave me a gorgeous shower that's safe too.
It was done in the same day. We did not have to wait. It is amazing.
Time is running out to take advantage of this special offer. When you call right now, we're waiving all installation costs with our Christina Across America offer and no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. Call now to schedule your free, no obligation in-home design consultation. You can create your new bath or shower customized just for you, installed in just 1 day from the most trusted name with Jacuzzi Bath Remodel. Call now.
It's never been easier. Get your free design consultation, schedule your 1-day installation, and start loving your new bath or shower right away.
You can go from this to this, and from this to this, or even from this to all this in just 1 day.
I did not like my bathroom before and was embarrassed by it. Yes. This is unbelievable. It is stunning. I can't believe it.
Time is running out to take advantage of this special offer. When you call right now, we're waiving all installation costs with our Christina Across America offer and no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. Call now to schedule your free, no obligation in-home design consultation. You can create your new bath or shower customized just for you, installed in just 1 day from the most trusted name with Jacuzzi Bath Remodel. Call now.
Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Nate and Yud. By the way, just before I let you guys go and give your coordinates and tell people how to buy this amazing book, purchase this book, which we're going to break down and spend more time on, folks, in the days ahead. There's a movie called Mountainhead, which actually basically has actors playing Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, I think Zuckerberg, and it's Altman. And it's actually kind of dark to begin with, but it turns very dark when they identify one as a decelerationist. Are you guys, Nate, you first, are you a decelerationist about this?
I would decelerate AI. I would decelerate any technology that could wipe us all out and prevent us from learning from mistakes. Every other technology, I think we need to go full steam ahead and are sometimes hobbling ourselves. But AI in particular, any technology that kills everybody and leaves no survivors, you can't rush ahead on that.
Yud, are you a decelerationist?
I've got libertarian sympathies. If a product only kills the voluntary customers and maybe the person who sold it, that's kind of between them. Yeah, I might have sympathy, but not to the point where I try to take over their lives about it. If a product kills people standing next to the customer, it's a regional matter. Different cities, different states can make different rules about it. If a product kills people on the other side of the planet, that's everybody's problem. And, you don't have to agree with me to want humanity to not die here about this part, but I would happen to, go full steam ahead on nuclear power. It's just the special case here. Artificial intelligence, gain of function research on viruses might be another thing, but it does actually differ by the technology. There's not this one switch that's set to excel or decel.
Yud, by the way, what's your social media? I might add, we were the first show in January of 2020 to say about what the University of North Carolina was doing on gain of function was a danger to humanity, and we're laughed at by the mainstream media as being conspiracy theorists. Yud, what are your coordinates? What's your social media? How do people follow you, your thinking, your writing?
E.S. Yudkowsky on Twitter.
Thank you, sir. Nate, where do people go to get you?
Yeah, I'm SO8RES on Twitter.
Thank you, guys. Actually, we're very honored to have you on. Look forward to having you back and break down this book even more. Everybody ought to go get it. If anyone builds it, everyone dies. A landmark book everyone should get and read. Thank you, guys, for joining us in the War Room. Joe Allen's going to stick with us. I'm going to go back to Joe in a moment. Shemaine, you're an ambassador. First off, you're one of the ambassadors of Turning Point. Give me your thoughts of what's evolved this week. And, we got Charlie's funeral or celebration of life on Sunday. You knew him extremely well. And you do the faith show here on Real America's Voice, but you're an ambassador at Turning Point. Your thoughts about this tragic week?
It's been horrific for so many people. It's been a turning point for not just America, but for the world. And we saw Charlie as the last good guy. And for this to happen to him is just devastating to so many people. And so many people are wondering, what do we do? What do we do with all this anger and sadness? And I say, silence is not an option at this point. We must move forward. We must carry that torch that Charlie gave us. So that's what I'm trying to do with my Faith and Freedom show right here on Real America's Voice. And I appreciate that. I think I am the oldest Turning Point ambassador. I have to be. I don't know anybody older.
But hang on, that's just that's chronological or chronological age. It's certainly not biological age. You've got more energy. You've got more energy than 20 young people. How do you do it? I mean,
I see where you're going
with this. You got the show. You're an ambassador. Hey, I'm just calling it. I'm just calling balls and strikes here.
Well, it's true.
Tell me what keeps you so young.
Well,
hold it. Besides your husband, which I know is young, he's young at heart, or it's like parenting a young child. Besides Ted, what keeps you young?
Steve, that's a whole nother podcast. Okay. about Ted and trying to stay young. But I think you're right. There's a study recently about epigenetics, which is the science that shows your DNA is not your destiny. None of us eat right, so we all take supplements, right? Most of us do. But there's so many different fruit and vegetable supplements on the market. And if you study their ingredients, which I have, I'm a label reader, it's just common produce with limited nutritional value. There's a product called Field of Greens, and it's different. And they wanted to prove that it was different by doing a university study where each fruit and vegetable in Field of Greens is medically selected for health benefits. There's heart health, lungs, kidney, liver, healthy metabolism, and healthy weight. And in this study, Steve, they wanted to see how diet, exercise, and lifestyle changed your real age. And this is fascinating to me, but some of the participants, they ate their normal diets, including fast food. They didn't exercise anymore, and they didn't stop drinking. All they did is add Field of Greens to their daily routine, and the results were remarkable. 60% of participants showed a measurable reduction in their biological aging markers after just 30 days. One scoop of Field of Greens slows the body's aging process at the cellular level. And I think this was what helps me because I've worked out all my life. I'll be honest, I don't eat right all the time. So just by taking one scoop of Field of Greens, I can see that aging slow down.
Fieldofgreens.com, promo code BANDIT, you get 20% off. It'll ship out today. We hit it every day here at the War Room. Now does it have all the about this Texas A&M study, but also I get an energy boost, Shemaine, and every day. So that's where we take it. I want to thank you for all you do, and particularly being an ambassador and helping the folks over at Turning Point, particularly in this very difficult phase for the movement, for the company, for Erica, the kids, everybody. So I really want to thank you for joining us today.
Well, we have to. It's an Esther 4:14 moment. If we remain silent, relief and deliverance is going to come from someplace else. We were born, Steve, for such a time as this.
Shemaine Nugent, thank you very much. Wisdom and energy all in one. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you.
God bless.
Dr. Navarro, You were our co-host. You were the contributor. You were the president. You've been with the president now for 10 years. You're his economic advisor. But tell me about, you wrote this piece that's pretty moving. And I think it's so tied to your book about you went to prison so that we don't have to. Talk to me about Charlie Kirk.
Steve, I really want people to understand the legacy of Charlie Kirk historically. He could have been president. He certainly would have been a governor. But he already at 31 years old, he's the greatest political organizer in the last 50 years. And if you compare him to the two who were there at the top before Charlie Kirk, Ralph Reed on the right, David Axelrod on the left, what Ralph Reed did with the Christian Coalition is mobilize the Christian right to get out and actually vote. He was responsible for the Gingrich Revolution in 1994, as well as the Bush win in 2000. And then Axelrod on the left, he was able to mobilize a natural Democrat constituent, blacks, Hispanics, and young people, use micro-targeting, some advanced kind of techniques at the time, and basically won the race for Obama in 2008. The reason why Charlie is head and shoulders above each one of them is he had a much heavier lift, Steve, to mobilize the youth in support of MAGA and Trump and MAGA candidates in Congress. He had to first bring him over to our side, and that was a heavy lift. And he did it. When I first met him, Charlie, back in 2016, young kid, thinking he was going to go out there and change the viewpoint of the youth of America. I thought he was Don Quixote. I'll be honest with you, Steve. He proved me wrong. He proved the world wrong. And people need to understand, father, husband, patriot, just a wonderful human being. That's here. But in terms of pure historical significance, he will go down in history as the greatest political organizer in the last 50 years. And I don't think anybody's ever going to do again what he did, because it's relatively easy to mobilize. It's very difficult to persuade people over to your side and then mobilize, Steve.
Hang on for a second. I want to, because you got your PhD at Harvard, then you went back, you taught in the university system. When I first saw Charlie, I think Breitbart's the first guy to give him a paid gig, but some of the people around Breitbart were what financed him at the very beginning when he was going after student governments. Yeah. And I think many people who thought Charlie was just a ball of fire thought it was the longest odds, because you thought so too, because the universities, as we know now, are so it is based around this kind of radical philosophy, and the kids are formed all the way from kindergarten all the way up. So that is, to me, the greatness of Charlie Kirk, that he was able to go in and just do this when so many people said, "Hey, look, this guy's great, he's fantastic, but this is Don Quixote. You're tilting at windmills here. It just can't happen." Yeah. And you knew it better than anybody, because you were inside the belly of the beast.
Well, brutal. I spent 25 years at the University of California in Irvine, and if there's a system that ever was woke, that certainly is it. But what Charlie understood, he didn't start at Harvard and Cornell. He understood that most of the universities of this country are in flyover country, and he just rolled his sleeves up. He was tireless. He went out there. And Socratically, when I taught in the classroom, I was a big fan of the Socratic method. You can't tell people things. You've got to have them come to their own conclusions. And that's how Charlie was able to bring people home to MAGA. And very keen intellect. Fast forward, it's like when I got out of prison, the day I got out of prison, July 17th, I went to the Republican National Committee, gave the speech. I went to prison so you won't have to. The title of the book is actually a tagline from the speech. It means like a wake-up call. But I mention this in the context of Charlie because I didn't even know this, but 2 days earlier, I saw a clip was shown. I was on the set of it shortly after he got killed. And he was giving a speech on my birthday, July 15th, 2 days before me. And he said, "I've visited college campuses, so you won't have to." And the way somehow it struck a warm chord in me. And I felt like we were fellow travelers. And, I'm on the campaign trail, getting out of prison with the boss, my fiance, Pixie, in the book, I call her Bonnie. You know her well, Steve. She's been on your show. We'd see Charlie everywhere, right? Everywhere we'd go. We were in Georgia, North Carolina. We were in Pennsylvania. He was always there. And then during the transition, he was essentially Sergio Gore's co-pilot there, putting all the personnel together in the administration. And look, the boss, Charlie, was like a son to Donald John Trump, as well as a key advisor, one of his most trusted advisors. So he'll be missed. I'm going to try to hitch a ride out on the plane, Air Force One on Sunday and be there. I'm sure you'll be covering it.
Hang on one second. Yeah, hang on a second. We're doing wall-to-wall coverage of it. I want to hold you through the break because I want to talk about the book for a second. Back in a moment.
We will fight till they're all gone. We rejoice when there's no more. Let's take down the CCP.
What's up, America? The folks sitting with me here today are real-life mechanics. We're here to get to the bottom of why car repairs are so expensive and why CarShield is America's most trusted auto protection company. Let's get to it. How long you been a mechanic?
I've been doing this for about 30 years. Every day's a different experience. Every day's a different adventure. I like to make sure everybody's happy, the customer's happy, the car's done right.
So why are vehicles out of warranty more likely to break down?
The manufacturers are very smart. They designed these cars with an end of life. It will fail as the warranty expires. Say over 60,000 miles, it'll start breaking down.
They're gonna break down, definitely. Just a matter of when.
When somebody has CarShield, what's the experience when they come to you?
You drop off your car, we verify your concern, we notify CarShield, usually get an instant approval, put you in a rental car, and get you back on the road as quick as possible. I show them what it would cost if they didn't have CarShield versus if they did, and they can't believe how many thousands of dollars they're saving on this repair and how easy it went through, and the deductible is pretty much all they have to worry about.
How has being a mechanic changed since you guys started?
Most challenging parts about being a mechanic is keeping up with technology these days. That's the hardest part. As these new cars come out, it's new software, new tooling, is a constant evolution.
Technology has totally changed from just the basic, everybody could fix a car 30 years ago, to today. You need so much education, background, computer knowledge.
And there you have it. No other company protects drivers like CarShield. The bottom line is, if you're driving an out-of-warranty car, you could be putting yourself at risk of paying thousands for car repairs. Call CarShield before a breakdown happens.
Get covered repairs paid. Call CarShield now for your free quote and to lock in your rate with their price lock guarantee. Call now. Call 800-202-9188. 800-202-9188. 800-202-9188.
We realize there are many choices when it comes to who you choose for your cell phone service, and there are new ones popping up all the time. But here's the truth. There's only one that boldly stands in the gap for every American that believes that freedom is worth fighting for. And that's Patriot Mobile. For more than 12 years, Patriot Mobile has been on the front lines, fighting for our God-given rights and freedoms, while also providing exceptional nationwide cell phone service with access to all 3 of the main networks. Don't just take our word for it. Ask the hundreds of thousands of Americans who've made the switch and are now supporting causes they believe in. Simply by joining Patriot Mobile, switching is easier than ever. Activate in minutes from the comfort of your own home. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Patriot Mobile's all U.S.-based support team is standing by to take care of you. Call 972-PATRIOT today or go to patriotmobile.com/TrumpUK. Use promo code TrumpUK for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/TrumpUK or call 972-PATRIOT and make the switch today.
Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Okay. By the way, gold, retract a little bit today. It's not the price of gold. It's the process of how you get to the value of gold. Make sure you take your phone out right now and text Bannon, B-A-N-N-O-N, 989898 to get the ultimate guide, which has to be free, investing in gold and precious metals in the age of Trump. So go check it out. We had a rate cut last night, only 25 basis points. President Trump wants more. His Steve Mirren, the Council on Economic Advisors chair, is now the interim governor. He voted against it, won a 50 basis point cut. Go find out why gold has been a hedge for times of financial turbulence in mankind's history. Joe Allen, I know you got a bolt. Just give your coordinates. You can't be on tonight because you're going to be at one of the conferences. I'm going to get you back on hopefully tomorrow. We had a historic interview today on the book, If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies. Very uplifting. Where do people go to get your writing, sir?
If the audience wants to hear the in-depth interview I did with Nate Suarez a couple of weeks ago, it's right at the top of my social media, at JOEBOTXYZ. Also an article about the hearing 2 days ago with Josh Hawley and the parents of children who were lured into suicide by AI. That's also up at the top of my social media, at JOEBOTXYZ or JoBot.xyz.
We are backed up on a lot of stuff because of the Charlie Kirk situation, was obviously a priority, including designating Antifa a terrorist group so we can get to the bottom of all of it and not just have this dealt with by Utah officials as a single murder. It's much deeper than that, what the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Joe Allen, thank you so much. Josh Hawley was supposed to be here today because we had the press conference, and right there on the screen you see the President of the United States getting ready to leave to go to the airfield to take Air Force One back. He'll arrive later tonight. Of course, we'll be covering all of that. Peter Navarro, one of President Trump's closest advisors, and I think arguably the longest advisor. I think you're the only one that's been there from the very, very, very beginning that's still there. Why should, in a world of all this information, everything going on, as big a hero as you are to this movement, as highly respected as you are by President Trump, because you're kind of the architect with him of the reorganization of the world's trading patterns, why should people buy a book about you and your days in prison, sir?
It's not about me, Steve. And I would ask the posse to go right now to Amazon. I went to prison so you won't have to. The book is really the best analysis of how the left is going after all of this. If they can come for me, they can come for Steve Bannon, put him in prison. If they can try to put Trump in prison now, they shot Charlie Kirk. They can do this to you. And I'll take you into prison, and I went to prison so you won't have to. But the broad scope here, Steve, is really an analysis about the asymmetry, the disturbing asymmetry between how the left is waging war on this. You mentioned everybody I serve with, Steve, including you, has been a target of the left. At a minimum, they've spent millions of dollars in legal fees, whether it's Mike Flynn or America's Mayor Rudy Giuliani. They take the bar cards of Jeff Clark, John Eastman. And on the other end, Steve, you and I went to prison, and everybody who put us there, every single person was a Democrat except Liz Cheney, and that's the exception that proves the rule. I mean, think about that. How can the Democrats seize power and use that to put us in prison and call us fascists? How dare they, Steve? So I went to prison so you won't have to. It's a story about how we must wake up to what's happening. But it's a lawfare story. But look, if you want to find out what it's like to go into prison for a misdemeanor and wind up spending 4 months with 200 felons, this is the book. Bonnie, my fiance, it's also a story about how we were able to cope and deal with that. The message there is simply that she did the time with me. And that's what happens when people are unjustly targeted by the left. It's not just you. We can take it, Steve. You and I are soldiers. We can take it. But when they go after our families, that's where you draw the line. Yeah. So it's a big book, a big story. And go ahead.
If they steal the election in 2028, trust me, this audience, they're going to be coming for you. You see now, we're in a different place than we even back then. This is getting more and more intense every day. Yeah. That's why Navarro's book has got to be written, because it's actually for you and about you. It ain't about Navarro, not about me, not about President Trump. There are different characters in this story, but the book is about you. And understand, like I said, there's no compromise here. There's no unity here. One side's going to win and one side's going to lose. And if they steal it in 28, they're coming for you. Peter, where do people go to get your writings? Where do they go to get, particularly your great piece on Charlie Kirk? Where do they go to get your book?
Sure. The book, I Went to Prison So You Won't Have to. It's on Amazon. It came out 2 days ago. Please drive this thing up to bestsellers so we get the message out. It's our best defense about them targeting us. I Went to Prison So You Won't Have to on Amazon. The piece about Charlie is very close to my heart. It's on the Washington Times op-ed site today. I put it out on X at Real P. Navarro. It'll be up on my Substack on Sunday as we celebrate Charlie on that sacred Sunday that we're about to have. And you can always go to my Substack, peternavarro.substack.com. But Steve, I really appreciate what the War Room does. I appreciate being able to come talk about I Went to Prison So You Won't Have to. And we got some, C-SPAN is running a long, hour-long interview on Sunday at 8 p.m.
We're going to talk about it on Sunday night.
And we'll talk about that
Peter's
later.
going to be with us. You're going to be on Saturday, and also you're going to be on Sunday. We're doing wall-to-wall coverage live from the stadium. We'll give more details later. Peter Navarro, thank you. Mike Lindell, it's been a long, tough morning for the War Room. They need a deal, sir. What do you got for us?
Best deal ever, everybody. We've got the 3-in-1 special. I'm sitting here back in Minnesota at my factory. All the towels came in. Remember, they actually work. The 6-piece towel sets, $39.98. They're normally $69.98. And then we have the pillows, the Giza Dream pillows, the Giza covers. All of the sheets are on sale, $29.88. Once they're gone, they're gone. These are the percale sheets. You guys go to mypillow.com/war room, and then you're going to see all of the you're going to see this all the big ticket items at the website. Free shipping on the beds, the mattress toppers, 100% made in the USA. And people remember, we have a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee, everybody.
MyPillow.com, promo code WARM. See you back here at 5. Megyn Kelly, we toss to the Charlie Kirk Show. 2 hours of populist nationalism, hosted today by Megyn Kelly. We'll see you back here at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
Hello, friends. Pat Boone here with a message from the past. Imagine the shock of reading tomorrow's newspaper and discovering the price of gold has doubled to over $1,000 an ounce. Sound impossible? Well, it's not. That's right. Back in 2006, my friends at Swiss America forecast gold prices would top $1,000 an ounce, and they were right. Today, several financial firms are forecasting $3,000 gold. Now, for over 40 years, Swiss America has helped folks like you and me purchase precious metals for home delivery and for our IRAs. So don't miss this opportunity again. Call or text Swiss America at the number on your screen now to receive your free portfolio review and a copy of the timeless truth about gold and silver. Learn for yourself how easy it is to safeguard your money. Call or text Swiss America today.
Big things are happening in America, and AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is standing with you. In a time when our freedoms feel threatened and when Washington seems out of touch, AMAC is proving that one organization can still put the people first. While the media spins, AMAC is giving you the truth, the benefits, and the voice you deserve.
We've got a lot of strength in numbers.
From exclusive discounts to real news and powerful advocacy in our nation's capital, AMAC is fighting every day to defend faith, family, and freedom. Right now, you can join AMAC for just $1 for a full year of membership. That's right, just $1 to be a part of the fastest growing conservative organization in the nation.
Our rights don't come from government. Our rights come